Thank you very much, John, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for taking the time to take in our presentation. This presentation will involve some forward-looking statements, so I encourage you to read this disclosure, the contents at your leisure. To start off with some highlights, Copper Lake made a new high-grade precious metal, base metal VMS discovery at Marshall Lake during the drilling campaign in February of 2022, so this year. We have subsequently carried out some geophysics on that new discovery that involves borehole EM as well as ground EM. And collectively, those surveys have defined a number of strong conductors over a very sizable area that are closely associated with the high-grade mineralization. And we think they offer very, very, very good potential for expansion of that high-grade zone. Drilling and additional geophysics to be completed into the fall and into the winter of 2023, and we have funding in place for that currently. Copper Lake properties we have 2 properties in the portfolio now. They're all located in the province of Ontario, which is perceived to be mining friendly, relatively speaking. We have an experienced management team, a proven track record in mineral exploration, discovery, development, and finance. Just a location map of the Copper Lake properties. Sorry. This is the pointer here, is it? Yeah. The city of Thunder Bay is located right here. Marshall Lake, located here, it's about 250 kilometers north of Thunder Bay. And the second property is the Norton property, which is a nickel, copper, cobalt PGE property. We're fortunate, if you look at the inset here, this is the Trans-Canada Highway here, which bisects the towns of Beardmore and Geraldton. And there's an all-weather road that leads up from the Trans-Canada Highway to the Marshall Lake property, so we can explore year-round. The other feature of the infrastructure really is this is the main CN rail line that traverses south of the Marshall Lake property. It's about 20 kilometers away. On the other hand, Norton is located in the Ring of Fire, so currently there is no access, so any access is by fly-in. The Marshall Lake property is located in the Wabigoon Greenstone Belt, which is this belt of rocks here. The flagship group of deposits in the Wabigoon Belt are the Sturgeon Lake deposits, which are located right there. And Sturgeon Lake was mined for about 20 years, and it comprised 5 separate deposits. And the total mined was 18 million tons of 8.1% zinc, 1.1% copper, 0.84% lead, 119 grams per ton silver, and half a gram of gold. So clearly a very significant producer. So the takeaway is that once you find a VMS or a massive sulfide deposit, they commonly occur in clusters, so you'll get more than one of them. Simplified geology map of the Marshall Lake property. It's a very large property. It comprises over 200 square kilometers. The property contains over 200 base and precious metal occurrences. The flagship or the most advanced prospect is the Billiton deposit, which is located right here. And Billiton contains a historical resource of a little over 2 million tons at 4.2% zinc, 1.3% copper, and 2.5 ounces per ton silver. The deep IP target is located about 300 meters to the southeast of Billiton. That is the new discovery that we made during the winter of 2022. And the other target that we're going to be having a look at is located about 6 kilometers to the east of the Billiton deposit, so in different rocks and much younger rocks, but we have a very attractive target called the Diesel Island target that I'll say a few words about a little bit later. This is a 3D depiction. So when you're looking into the screen, you're looking to the west. So we've put on the location of the Billiton deposit there with historical resource. This hole here, hole 22-1, was actually, we were testing a deep IP target. That was the initial target that we were drilling, and we came up with these 4 high-grade intercepts centered down at about 250 to 300 meters below surface. I won't read them all off the assays, but 2 of the best intercepts were 8.1% copper, 0.05% lead, 7.3% zinc, 241 grams per ton silver, 0.33 grams per ton gold. So that equates to about 13.6% copper equivalent over 2.11 meters. The second intercept was 5.8% copper, 0.01% lead, 7.3% zinc, 172 grams per ton silver, 0.02 grams per ton gold, and that translates to 10.5% copper equivalent over 1.95 meters. So these clearly are very high-grade intercepts. And following the drill program, what we did really to help us to spot other holes and to really give us some more information, we were able to probe 2 of these holes here by borehole EM surveys. And during the spring, we completed a ground large loop EM survey over the same area. And collectively, when you put the borehole EM data together with the ground EM, it defines this, what we're calling a conductive center. And that consists of about 9 strong conductors, strong to very strong conductors. And you can see where they're located. Most of them are below our high-grade intercepts and a long trend. So this is 600 meters in this orientation and about 300 meters in height. So clearly a very, very significant target. And obviously, we're hoping for thicker intersections of mesosulfide with this type of grade. As I mentioned, we did the large loop, the ground EM survey, and so this figure is showing the conductive plates that were outlined by that survey, and they're superimposed on these red and magenta colors, and what they represent is strong alteration, high temperature alterations that's associated with mesosulfide deposits, and clearly, and frequently these high temperature alteration zones are immediately below mesosulfides, so very, very closely associated. This is the conductive center right here, the 600 meter by 300 meter area of strong conductance, again, right over top of the area of strong alteration. The Billiton deposit is right here, and the Billiton deposit is actually trending a little bit oblique or almost perpendicular to the trend of this very permissive zone, which we think is likely the paleo seafloor, the old seafloor, or where mesosulfides are deposited. So the thinking now is the Billiton zone is actually a stringer or feeder zone that is actually feeding this permissive horizon that is north-south trending, and you can see that the geochemistry agrees with that, as well as the trend of the conductor plates. Priority 2 anomalies we're going to be having a look at this fall. We have a little more geophysics to do, a little more detail, but it's quite possible that this target, the 3 targets over the alteration will be drilled this fall. We have some priority 3 conductors there. They need some more definition. They're buildup anomalies, but this one is of particular interest because, again, it's closely associated with the strong alteration. The other target I mentioned was the Deeds Island target, and this is a target that has not been drilled, and it comprises a series of coincident features, which include these purple shells are gravity anomalies, or areas of high density, and the gravity anomaly is coincident with this, it's actually about a kilometer-long zinc anomaly that was defined during the course of rock geochemistry, so a very prominent anomaly, as well as this in the black dots. This is a major garnet actinolite alteration zone, or a zone of very high enrichment. And in addition to that, there are a number of conductors that are located right here, so very closely associated with the gravity features. So it's 4 out of 4. It's higher in the stratigraphy, so we've got a very good chance of finding more sulfides, more mesosulfides in a different horizon. in the younger part of the property there. So if we can hit on that, then that's a huge plus. Moving forward, diamond drilling to test the high priority Conductive Center, as I showed on the slides, for its potential to host high-grade mesosulfide. We're going to have to wait to drill that highest priority target. We'll have to wait until freeze-up on that because it's a very wet, swampy area. It causes all sorts of challenges logistically to get in, and it would be very expensive. So that drilling will be completed during freeze-up, likely towards the end of the year. As I mentioned, the Deeds Island target, we'll be drilling that. Again, that's going to be during freeze-up as well because that target is located right on the shores of the lake, and a fair bit of that anomalous area is under the waters of Marshall Lake, so that's a winter drilling project as well. As I mentioned, fall 22 drilling on the priority 2 conductors that are associated with the strong alteration. Just a slide on our Norton, the nickel, copper, cobalt PGE property. There is a 43-101 compatible resource on the deposit, sitting at 2.2 million tons at 0.67% nickel, 0.61% copper, 0.03% cobalt, and 0.46 grams per ton palladium. The deposit is open at depth of expansion. It's been drilled down to about the 250, 300 meter level, so it's wide open for expansion. The in situ value, if you tally all the numbers up, is about 728 million Canadian in situ in the ground. The latest, one of the latest round of drilling that was completed at Norton, there was a new zone discovered that was apart from the Norton deposit itself. It's only had 2 holes in it, and some really interesting numbers coming out of that drill hole at 0.8% nickel, 1.07% copper, and 3.2 grams palladium over 7 meters. And the other hole was very, very similar. So this zone is new, it's completely wide open, and clearly further drilling is warranted. I mentioned the team, the management. Terry McDonald is the CEO. He's 30 years experience in financial and resource sectors, specializing in mergers and acquisitions. Donald Bubar is one of our directors. Don was the founder of Avalon Rare Metals, previous VP of Exploration for Ore Resources. Myself, VP Exploration, I've been in the industry for about 35 years. I previously served as CEO of Wolfden Resources, as well as a VP of Exploration for Cliffs Natural Resources, as well as Free West Resources. George Mannard is serving as an advisor. George is an experienced geologist, previous VP of Wesdome Mines, Moss Lake Gold Mines, and Ore Resources. Just to finish off with the capital structure, 216 million shares outstanding if you add the options and the warrants, fully diluted about 240 million shares, market cap of 15.2 million. Stock price for the 52 weeks of last year between 4 and 21 cents. Currently, we have about 1.1 million in the bank, and we're doing another financing right now. So that concludes the presentation. Thank you.